First up, this is a slight conflict for me. For those of you unaware of it, I'm chairman of the Caxton Committee, and as in that role I have a responsibility to newspapers, but not for the next 5 minutes. As my role as Executive Creative Director of BWM though, I have to know all my media as well as I'm going to be talking about this today. So, first question for me is, how did we even get here? You elect and pay to go to a movie to be actively engulfed and immersed in whatever emotional experience that movie's offering. No distractions are allowed. In fact, someone rustling a chip packet is completely unacceptable. Cinema advertising gets your undivided attention. But there's another dimension available that I haven't talked about yet. Product placement. Newspapers have to run a giant disclosure that says advertisement when they try this. They used to be able to do it, but they were banned from doing it in about the 50s. Big problem. But movies, no problem. James Bond switched to BMW in a blink, then came back to Aston Martin. He'd wear a swatch tomorrow if they paid for the privilege. Ray-Ban sales went ballistic when Arnie wore them on Terminator. Top Gun was partially funded by the US Navy. Do you know that? Because it wasn't a movie. It was an ad for naval recruitment. And the results were astounding. You know, that worked in every market it ran. In every market Top Gun ran, applications to join the RAF in this market or to become a flight officer in the Navy skyrocketed. Everyone wanted to be a pilot after seeing Top Gun. I don't know what Wilson paid to have their ball be the lead character in that dull movie with Tom Hanks. And I don't know what FedEx paid to be the company where Tom worked. But it actually drove those brands to global stature. Product placement. It's so good that despite being in the business, even we don't recognise it.
The examples he's used were absolutely outstanding, and I think it is something that we should be and are, leveraging in our industry. I thought he did a great job of that.
Kathy Rhodes from Val Morgan said to me this morning that if I said anything negative about cinema, she'd spank me like a little boy. And I'm a married man, so that's pretty appealing. And on that basis, I just want to say that I enjoyed this morning's one a little bit more. We all got to put on the 3D glasses and really experience cinema at its best.
The product placement's a fair point, a good point, well made. I think when it's done well, I don't know if people remember Minority Report, but it was like a walking ad.
If your only trick in cinema is to hide products in movies that people are watching for other reasons, and you're hiding them in movies that less people are going to see than buy a newspaper on any day of any week, it's really not a great strategy. Surely if you're in the advertising business, you should be proud of what you're advertising. And why is it a bad thing to have advertising on the top of it? But I can't sledge movies because I work for the company that has made some of the greatest movies of all time. Big Blue Aliens and the reenactment of an ocean liner hitting an iceberg have helped put my kids through high school. And worse still, I have a deep and personal love affair with movies. I grew up in a household that didn't have a television. It was in New Zealand. I think they have TV there now. So in the face of all of that and the knowledge that movies, as we saw this morning, can and do not only take you to another world, but create another world, all I can do is continue to talk about my love of newspapers and my passion. And something that I haven't touched on until now is this message, which is why they are here to stay. So I want to introduce you to a good friend of mine. If you look around you, here it comes. This is MX. You can get it at any train station just down the road from here on any weekday afternoon. 10 years ago, it didn't exist. Today, it is the third biggest weekday newspaper in this country. It has a total circulation nudging 250,000 people a day across Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane. It is strongly in profit. It is growing. It has one of the most devoted and youngest audiences in the country. It offers advertisers arguably the world's most flexible and creative print environment, particularly for cinema advertisers. MX is proof for all of us in the media that no matter what platform, great content is still king. But I know that spectacular success for one free newspaper isn't enough. I know that many of you in this room believe newspapers are a dying industry. In part, you think that because we newspaper journalists are gloomy people. We have an odd magnetic pull to write about how bad things are, especially if it is about ourselves. And it is true that our print circulations are challenged. The media market is fragmenting. And we must not forget that all of us here are in the middle of one of the world's genuinely great revolutions. Our journalism is reaching more people than ever before. And through that, our influence as the vehicles that set the nation's agenda is strong, if not stronger than ever. And we all know there's only one reason you people make advertising for cinemas. It's because it's so much fun. Here's a choice. Run a campaign over 3 months, 28 by 5s in the Daily Telegraph, full pages in the Sunday Telegraph, or shoot 3 minutes in 3D on an island in Capri and tootle off to Cannes to pick up the award. What a choice. But also, in your hearts, you know that the only cinema ad anyone really pays attention to is the one that says this: the candy bar is still open.
I think that the ownership that newspapers stroke the different platforms that you can publish on can have around data make it a very, very rich channel for us.
I think for me what sold it was the concept of more formats, more often generating more reach than ever. So it was very close for me, but I think newspapers have just tipped over to win from my point of view.
It was highly entertaining, and newspapers definitely aren't dead, but you sold the newspaper category. You didn't sell me on consumers, engagement, and what I can do to sell.
Should have been here
products.
yesterday.
I should have.
I'm going to call on Hugh Gibson, Managing Director of Battle of the Media sponsor Ubiquity, to come up not only to announce who the winner is, but to give away this wonderful trophy. I think this trophy's worth a round of applause.
And the winner is newspapers.